Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, homie?
Tell me how you made it. How did you get this far? How did you become such a great athlete?
Well, I think my parents had a lot to do with it. They're both very athletic in different ways, but my mom was an athlete, and she obviously had a big impact on just starting me in sports, and she's an extremely competitive person. I've heard people say that, you know, they think that I'm competitive, and I'm nothing compared to my mom. So she was an athlete all growing up, and she was kind of coming through right at the beginning of Title IX and where opportunities for women really started to open up. So she had an opportunity to play basketball and volleyball in high school and went on to college and played at Wake Forest. And so I grew up seeing her being very active and competitive in really whatever she did. And I think that I inherited that gene in her. And I think the running around, I really enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed having teammates. I mean, I really enjoyed gymnastics, but it's a very individual, very solo kind of endeavor. But when you step on a field with a soccer team, you have teammates, and I just kind of fell in love with it from the start. And then I think growing up, what's something that really impacted me was having role models that were women in the women's national team. So like the 99ers, and even a little bit before that, but obviously watching the 99 World Cup really inspired me and kind of set me on a path, I think, and put that dream, that possibility in my head. That's something that I wanted to do. I didn't know if it was possible, but I got on the U19 national team, and I got to college and played in college, and all that was kind of off of my desire, my passion, and my dream of what I'd seen other people doing. And I grew up in North Carolina, so obviously UNC women's soccer. Like, I didn't think I was good enough to go there, and then I got recruited, and all of a sudden I was going, and that was a dream in and of itself. And that kind of carried me through. But I think once I hit professionally, I think what really changed was just my faith in God. That really kind of shifted my perspective of what I was trying to do. And I think when I was younger, I had a really hard time expressing myself. And I remember one day when I was pretty young just realizing that I didn't have to express myself to God. And for me, that was so empowering at the time, because I didn't have any other way of expressing myself, of feeling heard, and I felt so alone and isolated. And I think at some point, it was like my relationship with God was something that helped me with my dream in soccer, but at some point that shifted. It didn't change me wanting to go after my dream of the national team and going to the Olympics and the World Cup, because that's still very much what I'm going after, but I've gotten to pursue what I've loved, but at the same time have a healthier perspective on life and what it means to be a good person and to find happiness.
Did you find your faith yourself, or was it something that was really instilled?
Well, I think, like I said, I grew up in an environment, my grandfather is a Presbyterian minister, and so the influence was always there, but I think finding that relationship, like I said, it was a very intimate and a very real thing for me at that young age, at a time when I really needed it. It's an important part of my family, but do we pray together? No. Was it something that was forced on me? No. It was something that's always been very much mine, and that's, I think, why I value it so much, and that is me, that is, you know, who I am, and I don't talk about it a whole lot, but it is something that I think it's important to share, because you never know how it can impact someone else or how it can resonate with them.
Let's say in the future you have a girl of your own.
Yep.
And assuming you ever want to have kids, that's something I've asked the other girls about. You
Yeah.
want to have a family?
Oh, absolutely, yes, definitely do.
In the future, if you have a girl of your own,
Yeah.
or a boy, and your child comes to you and says, you know, Mom, I don't know if I have faith. I know you do. I love you to death. I look up to you. You're the greatest mom in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I need religion or a sense of a supreme being to be the person that I want to be kind, to be good, to be loving.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Obviously, I think, you know, I would love my daughter no matter what. I love anybody no matter what. I don't think this changes, whether it's your daughter, your friend, or anybody. I think that's her choice, and I would love her regardless, just like I love anybody regardless. I would just want that for her. But that's a choice that she has to make, just like anybody else. That's where the power in that relationship comes. I may not be the best at something, but I'm very good at everything that I do. And it's kind of, I think I'm a very cerebral player. I think about how to beat players, and then learning how to defend you teaches me how to attack you, because now understanding how and what you do well, then I kind of make that a part of my game, and understanding how to stop it helps me know how I can use it.
What's your dad like?
My dad, he's introverted. I think when I was younger, I thought I was always a lot more like my mom, just because she was athletic and competitive, and I related to that side of it. And then I went to college, and I think I always kind of annoyed my dad. I was loud. Didn't always listen, and he didn't have a lot of patience for that. But I think once I went to college, and I was you go through that time of searching for who you are, what does life mean, what is it all about? You start having more influences in your life. It's no longer this bubble that you were living in at home, and you start to question things. And writing emails to my dad became something that was a huge lifeline to me, and it was something that allowed us to relate. And I realized through that process that I think a lot like my dad, that he's a very cerebral person as well, that he likes to analyze things, and the way he understands things is by writing it down or figuring out. He'll write papers just so that he can understand something, about his introvertedness or about whatever it is that he's going through. And so we process things very similarly. So being able to, he's not an overly affectionate person, but in what he says and does, but through email and through being able to share our thoughts and ideas like that, it was really cool, because it allowed us to connect in a way that I had never been able to do with my dad. And it's something that I value so much, because he's helped me find a lot of perspective. He's helped me through a lot of the struggles that I've gone through. I think the biggest thing for me that he did in college was my sophomore year, came in, was playing great, earned my starting spot, playing at Carolina, playing for Anson. He's an amazing coach. And then I got hurt, and I lost my starting spot. And I could tell coming in that there was a freshman that had come in that he really liked, and that he preferred over me. I just got that sense. And because I felt like Ansa didn't have confidence in me anymore, and he had more confidence in her, I started playing poorly because I lost my confidence. And I remember talking about this with my dad, and instead of my dad being like, "Oh no, that is tough, Kendall, that's really hard," he was like, "No, Kendall, you've got to deal with that. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe you're good enough? Well, then go out there and prove it. You have to prove it every day. It's not going to change whether on the soccer field or in life. Every day that you go out there, you have to prove yourself. You're only as good as your last performance. So yeah, you had a good couple of games, but now you've got to prove yourself again because you've had some poor performances, and that's on you. It's not on Anson. It's not on anybody else. And I'm so thankful that he had the courage to tell me that. I'm sure, I mean, at first I was kind of shocked, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. And those are kind of the little things that my dad has always been really good at kind of helping me navigate and, processing and intellectually thinking about something, not just getting caught up in the emotional side of things. And that was hard to hear, but it was the most powerful thing I think he could ever give me, because from that point on, I kind of took my success into my, that self-confidence and that self-belief. I realized that that was something that I had to believe in more than anybody else. And Anson was right. I did have to improve. I did have to, whether he preferred someone or whether he didn't, I couldn't control that, but I could control what I believed about myself and the effort that I put in. And I did believe I was good enough to play, and I was able to win my starting spot back, and playing a national championship and all that stuff. So it was great, but I don't think I would have been able to achieve that if my dad didn't have the guts to kind of say, Kendall, no, it's not good enough. I'm not gonna have a pity party with you. I'm gonna tell you how it is.
Does your dad tell you he loves you?
Yeah, he does. I think he didn't as much when we were little, but now he does. And I think I've come to understand that how my dad says he loves me is in different ways. He does say it, but it's in those messages, it's in those moments that we share. It's just being able to spend time with my dad and having him share what he thinks and that's his way of saying, I love you, I'm opening up to you, because he doesn't do that with everybody else. And it's really special that he does that with me. And so he does say he loves me without words and with words, I think. And it took me a while to learn that, but yeah, it's something that's really special.